Hello everyone, we're drawing Yeonjun today. Welcome to my channel. My name is Kenya. I am a 23-year-old person who happens to do art, and this is a little something, like a little series on my channel that I started called Draw and Talk with Me, where I talk about art and topics related to art, particularly my art and maybe the art community, while doing art. I don't know where my voice went just then. Recently, I finally picked up my sketchbook and picked up my markers and actually wanted to try to practice drawing faces. I have a hard time just drawing like random faces, not like off-dome random faces, but like just pulling up pictures of random people and just drawing those faces. So I had to pick a familiar face. In this case, it's Yeonjun from TXT. So I wanted to do a very specific style of drawing, which isn't new. It isn't a new thing at all, but it's new to me. Where, you know, you kind of block out with color and then build the value to create the picture. I do this here and there with like certain drawings, but I've never done it as one big like monochrome colored picture. So this is what this entire page was. It's just Yeonjun in that color block style. So join me as I draw Yeonjun and upload this for his birthday. This wasn't planned, by the way. I just picked Yeonjun because I like drawing him for practice, and it just happened to be his birthday today. Well, in Korea today. Today's the 12th here in America, but in Korea right now it's September 13th, which is his birthday. And this should be uploaded on the 14th. If I, you know, scheduled this right. So I hope Yeonjun had a great birthday. And, you know, it's like perfect timing with this whole drawing thing. So anyways, today I wanted to talk about specifically the convenience of being a K-pop stan who is also an artist. You know, how this comes like full circle. I'm just like, that will be a great topic. So personally, my relationship with fan art is a little, it's a little wishy-washy. I love fan art. I like looking at fan art. I like making fan art. Sometimes, not all the time, especially not as much as I used to. But there are a lot of pros. It's like a love-hate relationship. So specifically, I want to get into a couple pros and a couple a couple cons that I personally think about when it comes to my experiences with fan art. First, I'll just talk about the pros. First pro is that you have infinite references. Very self-explanatory. But specifically, I mean, especially if you have that one artist or that one idol, doesn't even have to just go for K-pop, but just in general, that one character, that one, you know, actress, singer, or whatever that you enjoy looking at and, you know, watching a lot, you know, you have a lot of content to go off of. Because they're in a bunch of different poses and motions and outfits, and you just have a lot to work with, especially if you're just practicing drawing, you know? So that's, I think that's a very cool way to think about it, especially with the poses and the outfits, because K-pop can be very experimental when it comes to fashion, since they're always following fashion trends and everything. Like, for example, Taeyong and Yeonjun with the big boots, but we're not gonna go there. So I recently had a eureka moment about this recently when our internet was out for a little bit. So I was in the mood to draw, and I was just like, well, I would like to practice drawing some poses, but I can't pull up any reference pictures right now. And so it hit me. I'm just like, well, duh, I can just use the photo books that I have in the albums that I have. And I have a bunch of them. But, you know, it didn't hit me until then. I'm just like, I could just be using this as like a means of practice. Like, which isn't, like I said, it isn't a new thing, but it didn't hit me until that very moment. I'm just like, this is great for having different poses and stuff to practice, you know? And then that's a great pro to this. In relation to that sort of, another pro is that you have constant inspiration. So kind of in line with having that favorite idol or favorite, you know, character or singer that you like drawing a lot, you know, that in a way is like inspiration, because, you know, not just for practice, but for making actual like nice finished pieces, you know, that person in a way kind of inspired that. And this doesn't just have to go with like, you know, the person being the subject. Like if you're inspired by like different things, for example, the music, the visuals, like I was saying before, the fashion, just like anything pertaining to it can be very inspiring and can inspire like a really cool piece. And if you have access to that all the time, because K-pop is constantly dishing out stuff, like whether you follow one artist or multiple artists in groups, like there's something there all the time for everyone of different genres and styles and visuals. And I think that's very cool and very accessible. Well, as long as you have like internet, of course. But even if you don't have internet, like I was saying before, if you have albums, that's something, you know? And this sounds way more dramatic than it probably is, but I think that it's just really interesting to me how this is like a universal thing that everyone, for the most part, enjoys. And, you know, it's a benefit if you are an artist. But as well as being a benefit, personally, to me, it could also be a drawback. Also, I just want to give a quick disclaimer. I'm about to get into these cons, and these are specifically for me and my relationship with fan art. This isn't, you know, for everybody, like talking about everybody's experiences, because I don't know everybody's experiences. But anyways, getting into the cons, my personal drawbacks with, you know, doing fan art. The first one is being stuck as being known as like a K-pop fan artist or that K-pop fan artist. And this, I guess, specifically goes more into like artists who post online, which is, you know, a lot of artists, especially these days, because that's how you get your work out there. But there are a lot of K-pop fan artists, or people who do fan art who happen to be known for doing K-pop. I personally don't get a whole lot of traction on my on my Instagram, on my art Instagram. But the pieces that I have posted that have the most traction are my K-pop my K-pop fan art pieces. I've done like digital sketches. I've done mostly watercolor pieces. And I think that's about it. I don't really have like too many. I've done like, you know, pencil sketches, pen drawings, but that's about it. So I always have this back and forth whenever I do fan art. I'm just like, do I want to lean into this or no? And I usually go against really like going into just solely doing K-pop specific fan art and just posting that, because I don't want to be put into a single niche or a single box. because that's just not me. Like, I don't just do fan art. I don't want to be known for just doing fan art, you know? But unfortunately, that's what I get rewarded with the most on Instagram, because my art style isn't definite at all. I hardly have like one specific thing that I like doing. So my stuff is very all over the place. I have come to terms with that now. Yeah, if anything, I don't want to be known as just, you know, the person that sticks to this one group or this one artist or anything, like fan art wise. And that's something I can regulate myself. But yeah, it's something that I go back and forth with all the time, because I don't want to be known just for that. Now going into the second and final con for this video, which kind of relates to the last con, which is I don't ever really feel that creative when I'm doing fan art. So this is kind of perfect going into the next drawing that we have here, which is the moment when Yeonjun was making, he was cooking something and it dropped, and he kind of had like his life flash before his eyes for a quick second. It's hilarious. If you haven't watched the Yeonjun vlog, I don't know, it's like, I mean, it's not really funny, nothing really funny happens, but it's just, that's what this moment is from, if you haven't seen that video. But anyways, unless I'm doing something where I'm trying it in a specific style or putting a interesting twist on it in some sort of way, for example, how I'm drawing this mostly, you know, with red, or, you know, over like really simplifying the style, like practicing, you know, simplifying the style and everything, really putting my brain to work, I don't feel creative whenever I do fan art. That's mainly what this exercise experiment page was, because usually whenever I do fan art, the one that I get the most enjoyment out of is doing watercolor paintings, because, you know, those are the ones that I get to let loose with a little bit as far as like decorating and stylizing, because I do a really realistic drawing or a realistic painting, you know, when it comes to the subject themselves, but, you know, adding decorations to like the background and stuff, that's where I can get, you know, cute or stylistic or interesting. Like, I don't have to think that much. And that's the part I enjoy with art. I like the mindlessness of it. I don't like having to be meticulous, you know? I'm not saying I don't like detail. I love detail when it's done, like when it's done in a cool and purposeful way. I go, well, never mind. I was going to say something, but I don't like being exact. Not saying I can't be exact, but I don't like the thought process of being exact, because it's not relaxing or anything to me. At least with art, it's not relaxing or anything to me. It's very straining, and yeah, it's really straining and draining, and it's not fun. This drawing was fun. I really enjoyed this, because I was able to do something different and not really be like 100% exact. Like maybe for like only for maybe the area around the eyes, like the eyebrows and, you know, the way the eyes are set and everything, like the facial features and stuff. That's the only place where I really had to be like exact, because if I didn't pay attention to those details, you probably wouldn't have thought this was Yeonjun at all. Be honest, if you didn't look at the picture on the screen, would you have known that this was Yeonjun? Like, literally, be honest. You can comment it or something, because I'm actually very curious about that, because I'm really trying to practice drawing in a very like, not, what's the word, in a very like impressionistic kind of way, not being like 100% exact or realistic, but still having it be the person, because that's something that I do actually envy from really well-known K-pop artists, is how they have their own style and everything. And it's not realism, but you can still recognize that it's a particular artist. And I think that's cool, or idol, sorry. And I think that's admirable. That's something that I've always wanted to establish with my own art. But anyways, yeah, the creative process is what makes art, especially fan art, fun for me. And I'm just like, okay, I should be a lot happier, or I should be a lot more satisfied whenever I do fan art, because I love fan art, like I said, but I shouldn't be disappointed, or, you know, or not disappointed, but I shouldn't feel like this art isn't mine whenever I'm done with it. You know what I mean? Because I do hang on to it for a while. I'm just like, this is really good, but it doesn't feel like me. And that's like a while ago. That was partially because I didn't have an art style developed like at all. So I'm just like, in order to actually have my art feel like, or be recognizable as my art, you know, I should have an art style. And that's kind of what kickstarted the whole journey into finding my art style thing. And I feel like I'm getting there. I'm not there yet, because a lot of the stuff I do is very different, but I'm starting to recognize what it is about a lot of my art that is very consistent, and that brings everything together as being mine. And I'm trying to like pick different pieces and kind of make this kind of bring the pieces together, and to hopefully eventually come up with something that says this is Kenya's art, like this is Kenya Inc., like this is their art. I really want to get there soon, but at the same time, I think the journey's kind of fun, because I think it's interesting trying different art styles. But at the same time, it is kind of frustrating, like sitting down and not knowing whether the thing I'm going to come out with in this session is going to be something that looks like something I've done before or not. It's very much trial and error. But anyways, that's the end of that drawing. If you enjoyed this, feel free to come back again. Happy birthday, Yeonjun, and I hope you all have a great day.